All right, class, today is section 8-9, part 2. I'm still working with the quadratic formula, and we're going to talk about using the discriminant of the quadratic formula. Okay, so the discriminant, to get it spelled right, of a quadratic is the expression under the radical in the quadratic formula. So, here's your quadratic formula. Opposite of b, plus or minus, b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So, your discriminant is what's inside this radical sign. So, b squared minus 4ac is the discriminant. And that's what we're going to mess with today, okay? So, when you solve the discriminant, if it is greater than 0, then you have two solutions. It'll intersect the x-axis in two places. If it is equal to 0, you only have one solution. If it is less than 0, then there's no solution, which means it will not intersect that x-axis. So let's look at this first one here. Okay, so what we're going to need is b squared minus 4ac. So we need to identify our b, our a, and our c. So a is 1, b is 6, c is 10. Let's substitute in b squared minus 4a times c. Okay, so 6 squared is 36 minus 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 10 is 40. Okay, so we're going to get a negative 4 here. Negative 4 is less than 0, okay? So there's no real solution to this. And the reason why is if we substitute this equation into the quadratic formula, we're going to get a negative inside our radical sign, and you can't have that, okay? All right, let's look at this next one. Okay, we need to set this equal to 0. So what we can do is we can add x squared to both sides. So 0 equals x squared plus 4x plus 6. A is 1, b is 4, c is 6. Use our discriminant. B squared minus 4ac. 4 squared is 16 minus 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 6 is 24. So again, we're going to get a negative number. This is less than 0, because you're going to get, what is that, negative 8? So we have no real solution. Okay, on 3 here, we need to set it to 0 by adding 11 to both sides. So we have 7x squared plus 16x plus 11 equal to 0. A is 7, b is 16, c is 11. All right, so our discriminant is b squared, 16 squared, minus 4 times a times c. Okay, so 16 squared is 256, and then 4 times 7 times 11 is 308. Again, guys, this is going to be less than 0. You're going to get a negative out of this, so there's no real solution. Okay, let's look at 4 here. Identify your A, your B, and your C. Use your discriminant, b squared minus 4 times A times C. 8 squared is 64. 4 times 16 is what, 64? Okay, so we have 0 equal to 0. When it's equal to 0, you have 1 real let's look at 5. First step, set it equal to 0, so we got a minus 2 from both sides. Identify your A, your B, and your C. Okay, so we take B squared minus 4 times A times C. So I'm going to get negative 11 times negative 11 is 121. And then I'm going to need to add 96 because I'm going to get a negative 96. And you need to add its opposite, which is adding 96. So this here is going to be greater than 0. We have two positives. When you have two positives, you have two solutions. Okay? All right, let's go on to the second page. Let's skip that one. Okay, so we have a word problem here, so go ahead and read it quietly to yourself. All right, so let's start with our formula here. The height equals negative 16 t squared plus 39t. All right, so is there anything given here? Well, the height is given. We want to know if the bell is 25 feet, if the ball will hit. So we're going to substitute that in for our height. And then we want to see if we're going to use the discriminant and see if we have a solution, okay? So, first step is to set it equal to 0. So we're going to have to minus 25 from both sides. Identify your A, your B, and your C. Okay, use your discriminant. B squared minus 4 times your A times your C. Okay, so 39 squared is 1,521 minus 4 times a negative 16 times a negative 25 is a positive 1,600. Okay, remember we're going to add its opposite. So, what type of answer are we going to get here? Are we going to get something equal to 0? No. Is it going to be a positive number? No. It's going to be a negative number. So it's going to be less than 0. When you use your discriminant, if it's less than 0, there's no solution. So, will the ball hit if the bell is 25 feet off the ground? The answer is no. Okay, we got one more here. Go ahead and read it. Okay, we're going to do the same thing we just did, class. We're going to use our discriminant, and we're going to use the height of 40 feet for A and then 60 feet for B. So let's go ahead and work this. Okay, we need to set it equal to 0, so we need to minus 40 from both sides. Identify your A, your B, and your C. Substitute into your discriminant, which is B squared minus 4AC. So that's negative 16 squared minus 4 times Back up. B is 58 minus 4 times your A times your C. Okay, so 58 squared, 3,364, minus 4 times a negative 16 times a negative 37 is 2,368. Okay, so is this number going to be less than 0, equal to 0, or greater than 0? This is going to be a positive number, so it's going to be greater than 0. Okay, so that means that there's a solution so then the answer to A is yes. Okay? Now you're going to do the same thing for B. But we're going to use 60 instead of 40. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up where we have 60 equals negative 16t squared plus 58t plus 3. And then I'm going to have you all solve this one on your own, guys. Have it solved so I can check it in class tomorrow. And have a good one.